Hello YouTube, this is 0696. We have a bunch of computer parts here, but my computer is fine. However, I have a friend who's in need of a new computer, so I came running to help. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi! Hello guys, my name is Hugh from Green Ghoul Media on YouTube. I also have an Instagram, 20secondscc. So I called him. He's going to help me rebuild a brand new computer for mostly video editing and rendering times, all that sort of stuff.
Video editing, rendering.
I want to give you a huge thank you for helping me, get all the right pieces of this puzzle here.
Not a problem.
I know nothing of computers except this guy right here. If you have questions about computers,
they're already on my channel.
This lovely
They're already on my channel.
Yeah?
They're already here. So. Hi! And if you watch my Twitch streams, then yeah, you know I know my stuff occasionally. So, he needed a new computer for video editing, and I figured with AMD, with the 3600, there's, good time to make a new PC for him. Mm-hmm. He was running an AMD FX system. I don't even need to name the CPU, and you already know that was bad for video editing.
Very bad.
So we have 3600, 16 gigs of RAM. We have a boot SSD under here, and a 1650 for video compression and encoding, and maybe Doom Eternal when it comes out.
Oh yeah.
Because I brought Doom as a benchmark. With him needing a new computer, we may as well make a build guide. So for those who haven't built a computer before and want to learn how, or for those who have built a computer and want to check that they're doing things right, I know I did that while building my computer, I mostly describe PCs as Lego for adults. It's really easy and it's kind of hard to screw up, but at the same time easy to screw up, like Lego. So let's go ahead and get started.
Shall we?
Yeah. So, this is an anti-static wrist strap. Right here. This is an anti-static wrist strap. You want to put this on. Whenever you're doing a PC build, you want to make sure you are grounded, okay? Go to your room. So, to make sure you're grounded, grab your power supply, make sure it's flipped off, and clip some form of metal attaching you to the power supply so it's grounded. Just like that. And plug in the power supply. Make sure the switch is off. So the reason that you do this is this ground prong here grounds the entire power supply. So even if the switch is off, the thing is grounded. I am now grounded to whatever the voltage is for here. The best thing to do when you have a brand new PC with brand new parts that you've never used before, you want to make sure the components work. So what we are going to do, while grounded, take the motherboard out of its anti-static bag. If you're running an Intel platform, keep your hand out of here. Since we're on an AMD platform, we are fine. The pins are on the motherboard. Place the motherboard onto the cardboard so you can use it as an anti-static workstation. And then we're gonna get installing stuff. We're gonna start with the CPU first. So here we are, the Ryzen 5 3600. I'm gonna leave it in its container for now because you might notice on the back there's all these pins. If one of them bends out of shape, it's not fun. And we may as well just send it back at that point. So, for installation, when installing the CPU, you want to handle it by the edges, and you want to find... So, you want to look for this little triangle here, this yellow triangle. So you want to line it up with this little dot on the board here. This is... Oh wait, also you want to do this.
Yes, can't see that.
Yeah, you want to undo this first, this little tensioning arm. You want to pretty much just drop it in at the orientation with this little dot on the board, and then put this down. Needs a touch of force, and you're done. CPU is installed. Hooray. That's easy, isn't it? So, in our case, this is going to differ from what I would suggest. This comes with paste on it. However, for longevity reasons and low maintenance reasons, we are going to be using a thermal pad instead. So, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to clean off this thermal paste. Luckily, we have what we need right back here. So we have some towels, I have shop towel, Q-tips, and some rubbing alcohol. The higher the purity, the better. We have 91, and it's almost empty. So, by the way, you do not want to get thermal paste on your clothing. Trust me, it doesn't come out. It doesn't come out. I've had to throw away a shirt. So.
Just one.
Yes. I'll just do that. Get it on the corner. Then just circular pattern. This is more than sufficient for normal PC builds, and honestly, I would have left this for if this was my build. However, that's because I know what to do with this and how to maintain it. Nice and shiny. So we're just cleaning off the paste. You need rubbing alcohol for it. There are other methods you can use, thank you. But rubbing alcohol works the best. Looks good. Perfect. So the reason you actually need thermal paste, I should say, is because even though these look really, really smooth, the surface of the CPU, and the fan base, they are not perfectly smooth. So thermal compound is used to kind of smooth it out, use impurities. Thermal pads have become fairly popular nowadays to do the same thing. So what we're gonna need to do is take this little pad and just place it right center on the CPU. All right, welcome back. Those of you that are in the thermal compound gang, that click the timestamp in the description. So you wanna line up the CPU fan. I'm wondering how it is on this board. Yep, okay. This board is a weird one. Comes with these little covers here you gotta remove. Oof, wow.
Really tough?
Yeah, tight. I would say hold on to these in case something happens with the board, in case you need to RMA. We just place this right on top, roughly centered. There we go. And then just screw it in. There are thumb screws. I'm just gonna use normal screws because it's more convenient. You will need to put a little bit of force on.
I'm gonna clean up this just a little bit while you're doing that.
Is this screwing in? Yes. So you want to do opposite corners and try and have roughly the same amount of turns on each one. Okay, you want to have these roughly equal, especially for thermal paste, but since we're using a pad, it doesn't really matter. You do want these a little tight though. If you have a different cooler though, you will need to take off this back plane on the board, but since we're using the stock cooler, we're fine. All right, next up we're gonna get the or actually we should probably plug in the fan, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see, where is the CPU fan? Right here, okay. Oh, it is PWM, hell yeah. So depending on your fan, it might be a 3-pin or 4-pin. Just boop, right in, easy. We need RTFM. Read the fucking manual. I need to double check how RAM goes on this board because every motherboard is different. So when you're installing RAM, check your motherboard manual. If you have 2 sticks, if you have 4 sticks and there's only 4 slots on your board, slam them all in. If you only have 2 slots on your board and you have 2 sticks, slam them in. If you have 4 slots and 2 sticks, check your manual. This one didn't come with one. Okay. It recommends B2 and A2. It should be labeled right on the board. A1, A2. So that would be this slot here. There's a little tab here you pull back. I'm gonna put back the ones we don't need. Okay, that one's in. That one's going, okay. Hell yeah, that wasn't bad actually. Nope, wrong way. So.
No, you're right. Yep.
No, look. See how the little notch here doesn't line up?
Yep.
You gotta make sure they line up.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that was intentional.
Yeah, that I kind of figured out too.
There we go, okay. I had a couple friends who were building a system on AMD as well, and they had to push down super hard in order to install the RAM.
At least that was easier.
Yep, it's recommended to install everything on the motherboard before going in the case, except the graphics card, but we are going to do that in this case to make sure that all of the parts work.
And then we take it out.
Yep. We're also gonna want to power it up, just real fast. What the fuck is holding this shut? For a GPU, you always want to, without fail, if possible, put it in the topmost PCI Express slot. Just put it on top, press, there's the board in the way, the box I mean. Let's try that again. Put it in the slot like that. Push down and we're in. All right, we're ready to turn this puppy on. Okay, you're gonna be the one to do it, Hugh.
Okay.
So you ready? Moment of truth, I'm gonna let you do it. Yep, power supply is on, hit it, top 2 pins on the right. Yay! We got a power on, all right.
Cool.
GPU fans are spinning. That means we have power to the GPU.
Well, that's good. This is quiet.
Oh yeah. We forgot to install the SSD. Well, didn't forget, it's just not needed to test for power on. So we have an NVMe SSD. We want to place it in like this. And then using, where's the screw? Where did I put the screw? I literally put it down, so I'm fucking, oh, it's right here. It's a really tiny screw. You do not want to lose this like I almost did. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in my hand's palm. It's tiny. You want to just place it in like this, find out which hole the line's in. You will need to probably unscrew it. Ours was in this slot. And then just screw it in so it's down. Luckily, an SSD doesn't have moving parts, so this tiny bit of leeway here is fine. I mean, it could go further. Fuck. Alright, we're good. We are done with this setup, and now we need the case. Tell me about this case, Hugh, because you're the one that picked it out.
I think the only reason why is because with the release of Doom Eternal, I've got such huge inspiration for how the game was designed and for a lot of the architecture that was in it. So I wanted a PC that looks like it came straight out of the game, like the theming of it, the way it was built, and also why, you know, like, just something cooler.
Yeah.
And period.
Plus, I mean, you're mostly a car guy, and I'm getting quite the car or automotive aesthetic from this, especially with all the tubes going all over the place.
Yeah, actually, if you go up here, this looks like Lamborghini louvers.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
this
the
is a
reason
nice
why-
looking case.
That's the reason
Clean.
why I picked that, is because it looks like...
Yep, just ignored the mess all back there.
Why is my camera not saying
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a nice looking case, and thumb screws are always a plus. Alright. Let's go ahead and get this part
almost
started.
there, guys.
We're nearly there, about halfway.
Yeah, this is gonna be so
And as
sick.
you saw earlier, it powered on. So yeah.
It's alive!
So this is my and many others' least favorite part of the build, the I/O shield. I want to emphasize this. Do not forget the I/O shield. I'm going to repeat that. Don't forget this. If your motherboard doesn't have one installed, which some really high-end boards do, my server over there does, you're going to want to install this. Otherwise, you could have a lot of dust go in your case. It's good to install. You don't put it on like this. I'm just making sure it goes that way. Okay. So, you want to line it up with how the motherboard would be. Motherboard would go in like sunk. That's the scientific sound it makes. So it goes like this. You want to line it up on this side. Over here. And this is the part where the blood sacrifice takes place. Because sometimes the I/O shield stabs people when installing it. Be careful. If there is a blood sacrifice, you'll hear Doom music start fading in. Oh, I think... Wait, is it already in?
Yeah, that's what I said. They just snap right in.
Oh, thank God. That went so much smoother than my builds. Remember, I had to move my system from the tower it was in when you had that music video.
Yeah.
Motherboard. What was the song? Motherboard?
Yeah, motherboard.
Yeah. Glad I remembered that. I had to switch cases because of water. Oh, I'm pulling on the mic. I had to switch cases due to my water cooling, so I had to take out the shield, put it in a different case. It sucked. Do not recommend. And since we don't need these fans up, or this fan here, where the fuck is the screw? Oh, it's on the other side. So, I'm glad Hugh got this case and not a different one, because some cases don't have these pre-installed. These here, I need you to zoom in hard for this little thing. This is a motherboard standoff. If these are not in your case, or they're not in the right spots for your motherboard, you need to install them. This one has them pre-installed, so we don't need to worry. This? Yep. There's a few of them. You're gonna need some of the screws that came with the case. We've skipped ahead. We've installed the fans for Hugh, and we've installed the DVD drive and the hard drive up here. And now we're just gonna plop the motherboard in. Like I mentioned before, you want the I/O shield and the standoffs in before you do any of this. Should at least just slide in.
Can you see?
Yeah. Perfect. And we're in. All right, now we just need the standoff screws, which should have been in that big bag from the case.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay, I need my screwdriver back. So, yeah, it's not required for every single one. To be honest, 2 is all you need.
Yeah.
But you should get in as many as your case allows.
My long ass legs, I kicked this thing by like accident.
Yeah.
Don't do that anymore.
I can't wait, I have long legs.
Okay, so that's the motherboard installed.
And that's it. That's all of them.
All right, so we are going to first plug in all the fans. These are 3 pins. So I get to show what I was talking about earlier when I said if you have a 3 pin, you plug it in the 3 pins like this. If you have a 4 pin, you plug it in the 4 pins like with the CPU fan. I'm gonna go with a somewhat sensible way of installing these. This one is system, actually no, I should, okay, a system fan here. This is fan 4, this is fan 1.
Then we'll just scoot this guy over here.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. So that's all the fans. Next up, we're going for the graphics card. Why on earth is this tightened with the might of Zeus?
Can I help you?
Got it.
What does this go to, by the way? That
What?
battery.
The battery? Oh, that is for the CMOS. It's basically the storage for the motherboard settings.
Oh, so can you change that out with a regular battery?
Yeah, it's a watch battery.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's been using actually, I believe the same battery has been used since the 90s?
Oh, wow.
Since motherboards were able to store info in BIOS, I think. I haven't taken apart a system from the 90s, so... But my Vista system, okay. Do they use a CMOS battery as well?
Yeah.
Like standard watch battery? Okay. Okay, thank you. That just slots right on in. Snap.
Nice job.
All right,
So then,
now we gotta screw it in.
here, I'll hold, there you go. I'll hold it in there for you.
Like this.
Well, that's a good angle right there. Look
Do I
at that.
have nails? I can still do it there in this way.
Excuse me. Yo.
Can you get it? Almost, there you go.
All right, that's everything installed that needs to be installed except SATA, which we can do right now. So this is a SATA cable. Easy. We are going to just go like this. So it hit the light. Okay, then we need to stand this up.
Yeah, I can't do Ethernet.
Oh, nope, you're
Router's
SOL.
way over there.
You're SOL. There's no Wi-Fi on this.
Well, I'll transfer over the one that I have on my thing and see if it still works. If not, I'll just get an adapter.
I did it.
Is it USB or?
I think it's just a
Yeah,
regular
I
grabbed the
plug.
different one.
Oh yeah.
Can you
I
go
see
get
that.
it?
Yeah. That thing.
What the?
Yeah. This allows me to hook up to wireless internet.
Oh, okay, that's how it works. Okay.
But I think it's broken because it doesn't.
It's just
connect
USB.
anymore. Nice.
Everything is falling. So, not a lot of motherboards or cases come with this anymore, but in case you get a speaker, go ahead and just slot it in. Just like that. Some cases also, this motherboard also has buzzer as a label on the other two ones, so, I don't know. What? That's light.
Just so that people can see that.
Yeah, so it was right above our front panel connectors here. Okay, so this is front panel. A lot of people do not actually enjoy this. I understand why.
I enjoy it.
Okay, some sadistic people enjoy it.
Some sadistic people.
Okay, so we have LEDs for all of these things, including power, hard drive activity, the reset button, power button. Some cases don't have reset buttons anymore. So you're gonna wanna check your motherboard manual. I have it up on my phone here. So you wanna follow this. So we're going to, unfortunately this HDD LED, it does not show which end is positive. There's an arrow on it.
Yeah, that's the only way you can tell it's positive. Because when I was building,
Is the arrow the positive?
Arrow is the positive. Yes.
Okay, so I have it the
Because
right.
then you'll see if
Whoa,
you
I
look-
don't have it.
If you look on the thing itself, it'll show you the arrow on the actual motherboard, and then it'll show you a line that's such as the negative. Don't ask me how I know that. I actually figured it out when I was building mine.
So we're gonna put the hard drive LED in first, which is this one on the far left here. This one, I'm gonna need you to hold that. It goes on the bottom left.
It's hard to see, but it's a really tight
I
quarters.
really
there.
can't see. Can you lift the light up? A little to the right. Oh, I had it in the wrong slot. It's really tight. Some cases come with installers to make life way easier, and I love case manufacturers that have those.
There you go.
Next up, we'll do the hard drive, or no, the power LED, which this one is separate for some ungodly reason.
It's hard to see on the camera, guys, because it's really tight quarters in there.
Yeah,
I'm
so
really trying to
power
get a good angle.
negative is the second pin on this board. Power positive, which is this one, I believe. Yes. Top left. Wait, that's the speaker.
Do you want me to do this one?
Nah.
Because I actually figured it out.
Yeah, I got it too. All right, and then we got the power and reset. I'm gonna put these backwards, just to troll the shit out of you. So
I'll figure it out. I'll probably figure it out for sure.
this is the power button. It's now bound to reset.
Okay.
Oh my god, I actually did that. I was actually
You actually got it
I was gonna
backwards?
say that, but not actually do it. And then I
you-
fucking did it.
You actually got it backwards?
Yeah, I went in the wrong way.
That's what happened to me when I first did it. I got it backwards.
There. The buttons actually can't go backwards because they're binary. Like, it doesn't matter if you read it wrong. We're all good. We're nearly done.
Okay.
Well, I say nearly. We have the fun part left.
Which is?
Power supply.
Yeah.
Where's the speaker cable?
So go up or down? Does it go down?
So, because you don't have airflow on the top here,
It's gonna go on the bottom.
Yep, it's gonna be facing down, just like this. However, what we're gonna do before we put it in, because it's easier to do it this way, we're gonna put all this in first.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Future Ray here. So I was editing this and I realized I never showed how to actually install the hard drive or the power supply. So I figured, why not, re-record it and use my server box that is going to be deployed soon and show how to do it, because I need to install an SSD anyways, and the process is the same for hard drives and SSDs. Let's go ahead and get started. So like in Hugh's build, I have a fully modular power supply, and it comes with its own set of cables, which you should not get mixed up with other sets of cables. They only go into one specific slot on the power supply and one specific slot in the computer. So there's really no way to mix it up. Every computer is going to need 24 pin, which is this huge chunk of a cable. There are two parts at least on this power supply, but some of them may have it as one whole piece. Okay? Now this next piece depends from computer to computer. In my case, this is a Threadripper system, so I need 2 extra power cables for the CPU. Some need 1, some need 0. It depends entirely on the motherboard and the CPU. They're all labeled on the power supply itself, so there's really not a way to confuse this. And in some cases, this is getting less common, shockingly, as time goes on. You need a SATA cable, be it for external RGB lighting, storage expansions, or USB cards. So the way I recommend to install these cables is to put them all on the power supply like I have here, and then to feed the cables through where the power supply is installed. This depends on between cases and between different power supplies, but in this case it works out perfectly. So just feed it all the way through, pull all the cables out the back, and then slide it in and screw it in if needed. Alright, so now that it's screwed in, we just need to plug in all of these cables. Alright, so I fed this through the back of the case, but where you route it, it varies on a case-by-case basis. So you just go ahead and you plug it into this big chunk of a plug. On some power supplies, these 4 pins on the end can break off. Not break, but separate. In this case, we don't need that. Since this is the Threadripper system, I need 2 EPS 12 volt lines. These will be labeled as CPU. Okay, so there's one. It's really hard to see in here. There we go. All right, in the case of SATA, this is where my hard drive is on my case. It depends on yours. I'm going to say this every time. You go ahead and take this cable and you plug it right in. Make sure you don't put too much stress on this, as I will explain why later in the video. And also make sure you route it properly. Perfect. In the case of my S340 here, it has these little trays that SSDs can go into, along with other 2.5-inch devices, such as the Hugh Plus or other things. So it just goes on the back of the SSD like this. You line it up with the screw holes, and then you screw it in. So it varies from motherboard to motherboard where the SATA ports are. On most of them, it's along the side of the board, like right here. On some, it could be just sticking out of the board, and in others, there might not be any at all. Double check your motherboard before you buy expanded storage. So you're going to want to route this somewhat logically. So I'm going to feed this from the back. And then plug it into one of these slots. I'm actually going to plug it into the one right next to my hard drive. You'll hear a little click when it's done, and there you go. All right, so now we go to the actual SSD installation. So you plug in your SATA cable, and then your SATA power. In this case, I just put this back down on here, slide it back, and then screw in this thumb screw. And just like that, we have storage installed. All right, that's all for hard drive and power supply. I'm gonna throw it back over to Past Me to finish up the video. Enjoy, guys. Actually, no. I'm going to do it this way because we're gonna have a story time interlude on my end. So, we had a computer at my class, my tech college class. I'm not gonna name it, obviously, privacy reasons. Oh boy, I can't believe I'm telling this story. Zach, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. So we had a PC. We were gonna try and, get like a software raid working on it. Those of you that know what it means, there you go. You know what it means. Help the people in the comments, or I will. And we had like 6 or 7 hard drives in it. We had cables, these power cables here. We had like the cables going along the back of the case. We had it like this, except we had like 3 or 4 drives in an area. And we had it like this, and then like this. We powered it on, and then the thing started to smoke. Oh. Yeah, the magic purple smoke. So we killed all of the hard drives simultaneously. They were all crap, though. They were from a bunch of pre-builts, because they're school property, government property by extension. So super cheap. Windows Vista. They were running XP, then upgraded to Vista, then upgraded to 7. Crap drives, like 500 gig. They were all killed instantly. Oh my god. There were like 6 drives. The motherboard worked, which is good because it was brand new and cost about $200, and the CPU was like $300. Yeah, that was a fun day when we killed like 6 drives.
Oh my god.
But besides that, I think we're pretty much done. Holy shit, this has gone fast.
It's an easy build, bro.
Yeah, so now we just gotta put the brick in. Oh god. Oh god, this is the worst part. cable manage this as best as we can.
Okay.
Everything is installed. We're ready to turn it on, see if it works.
Hold on, it's got my fingerprints on it. Ugh.
All right, go ahead. Power button. Uh-oh. What?
Did we hook something up wrong, or?
You're a rookie.
Oh, I forgot to flip the power supply switch.
Freaking tard.
Oh! How did I make such an... Oh!
You're a dick nozzle.
I believe that in. I'm not censoring it.
That's fine.
Dick nozzle. Alright, it's up and running.
This is sick.
Yup.
Ew, it's got whose fingerprints is all over this thing?
Probably mine.
Yeah, because we're touching it.
Powdery fingerprints.
Alright, so
Sweet.
we've swapped sides of the island. Okay, so we now need to install software and drivers, and honestly, that's a little bit on the boring side.
That's
so
really boring.
yeah, we're gonna just skip that out of this video and get onto benchmarks. We have 2 benchmarks today. We have Cinebench R15, not R20 because I don't have all day, and Doom 2016 because it's called the Argent Tower. We have to. All right, we will see you guys in about 3 hours.
Final joke. 5'11", 6 foot.